I slowly got up from my chair. My legs were shaking. My legs were shaking. I walked slowly to the front of the class. I stood in front of everybody. My body was like this, like really, really tight. Maybe you are in the same place. Maybe you have the same fear when you try to speak English. How do you overcome this? How do you overcome this problem? So I went from that shy kid to now being able to talk and make videos in English. How did this happen? There is only one solution. Let me guess, you feel shy and nervous when you try to speak English. You cannot really speak powerfully because you have this fear of mistakes in your head. If this sounds like you and you want to become confident when you speak English, then you are in the right place because 3 years ago I was in the exact same situation. I had the exact same problem. I was very shy and nervous whenever I would try to speak English. One day, in my high school class, our English teacher told us, "Hey, each of you students have to come up here in front of the class and speak in English for at least 5 minutes." This was a nightmare for me. I felt so worried about my presentation. One by one, each student got up from their chair, went to the front of the class, and did their presentation. One by one, two, three, five, 10 students went up and gave their presentations in English for 5 minutes. And when my turn came, I slowly got up from my chair. My legs were shaking. My legs were shaking. I walked slowly to the front of the class. I stood in front of everybody. My body was like this, like really, really tight. I was like really, really nervous. My legs were shaking. Finally, I mustered up the courage to say something in English. I said, "Hi, my name is Asim. I have been learning English for a long time." Um, uh, in the entire presentation, I was like taking pauses. I was making sounds like My legs were shaking. My throat was tired. My voice was really, really low. In the middle of the presentation, my teacher said, "Hey Asim, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear what you're saying. Speak a bit louder." When he said that, I got even more nervous. I got even more worried. I was like, nobody understands me. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I tried my best to speak louder. Like I forced my throat to speak a little bit louder, but I couldn't do it. Like when you're nervous, your throat muscles get tired. They get so tired that even you cannot speak louder. And also, when you're nervous, your breath becomes shallow. Shallow means not deep. When you're relaxed, you take deep breaths, you're relaxed. But when you're nervous, you start taking these shallow breaths, which makes you even more nervous. Like your heart starts beating fast. You take these shallow, not deep breaths. You become even more nervous, and that's what happened to me during that presentation. Like the fear I had in my mind. Oh my god, I cannot describe to you the situation and the fear I was in. Maybe you are in the same place. Maybe you have the same fear when you try to speak English. How do you overcome this? How do you overcome this problem? After that experience, when I finally finished my presentation and I sit down in my chair and I think to myself, I will try to change my situation. I'll become more confident when I speak English. I will speak English fluently and confidently. That's what I said to myself. And that experience was one of the main reasons why I started learning English. How I did it. How did I went from a very shy and introverted little kid to a guy who can even make YouTube videos in English? If 3 years ago you told me that Asim, 3 years later you're going to become a YouTuber, you will be talking to people, like you will be talking to a camera in English, explaining different topics, I would probably have a heart attack. I would never imagine being in front of a camera because at that time it would probably feel like a big mountain. because I couldn't even do simple things. I couldn't even talk to one person. So I went from that shy kid to now being able to talk and make videos in English. How did this happen? How did I went from that situation to this situation? What happened in the middle? What was my secret? What was the solution to me being afraid? How did I become so confident? How I'm so relaxed and confident when I speak English? There is only one solution. Take action to control your fears. Take action to control your fears. After that experience, I committed myself to change. When you commit yourself to something, you say to yourself, no matter what happens, I will do this. If you commit yourself to boxing, you say, whatever happens, I'll become a boxing champion. So I committed myself to English. I said, whatever happens, I'm going to speak English fluently and confidently. And I worked, like I had more conversations. I started making friends. I would speak with them every day for long periods of time. I practiced more. I spoke more. I had more conversations. I took action. I didn't just sit and hope for the best. I didn't just sit and said that something good will happen which will make me confident. I will discover a secret or a tactic that will make me more confident. No, I took action to control my fears. And that's what you have to do as well. You have to take action. If you are afraid to speak in English, you have to speak in English. Just go and have a conversation in English with someone. This will help you more than any secret. The only secret is that you have to take action. You have to face your fears. A lot of people are like hiding from their fears. They say, okay, I'm afraid to speak, so instead I will do this and that. No, if you're afraid of doing something, do it. And once you do it a lot, once you do it 5 or 10 times, or even more, your fear will start to fade away. Your fear will start to go away. That's how you become more confident in English. If you're shy to speak English in front of somebody, take action. Face your fears. Have conversations. The more you practice, the more you're able to control your fears. After that experience of getting embarrassed in front of my entire class, I committed myself to change. I practiced more. I spoke more. I had more conversations. I gave more presentations. And a year ago, in my last year of high school, I gave 2 speeches in front of the audience of more than 300 people. 300 people were sitting, including my teachers, my classmates, and everybody else in the school. And I gave 2 presentations, 2 speeches in front of them. I went from this shy kid who couldn't even stand in front of his class and spoke few words in English to being a guy who gave speeches, who made YouTube videos. How did it happen? I took action. I faced my fears. I didn't run away or hide away from my fears. I faced them head on. I put myself in uncomfortable situations. This is a great thing. I think you should do that too. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. The fear will start to go away. If you don't even feel nervous or shy when you talk, then you've probably conquered your fear. And you do that by having a lot of conversations, by speaking more. Put yourself in situations where you face your fears. In my case, one of the fears I had was YouTube, camera, being in front of camera. This was like one of my big fears in life. And 2 years ago, when I decided to start a YouTube channel in English, I was like really nervous about it. I had these thoughts that my classmates in school would think that I'm an idiot for starting a channel. I thought my teachers would think I'm not qualified enough to educate others, or I'm too young. I had all these excuses in my mind before starting this YouTube channel. What did I do? Guess what? I took action. I faced my fears. I pressed the record button. I started talking and I made my first video. And after, making 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 videos, I became less afraid. I became less nervous in front of camera. I became more and more confident. And it's the same in your situation. You want to become more confident when you speak English, have your first conversation. Maybe you already have your first 5 or 10 conversations in English. That's great. It means that you've taken the first few steps, and now it's going to be a lot easier for you to become more confident. You do that by speaking more, by practicing more, by having more conversations. That's how you improve and level up. You practice and you level up. Let's be real, there are no secrets. You learn something, you practice it, and then you improve. It's the exact same cycle for everything you learn. So this is how I became confident when speaking English. I hope my story inspired you. And I make these videos for you guys. Like, I make them so that you can be inspired and motivated, so that you change your situation, so that you improve your English, so that you become more confident and more fluent in English. If you want to become more confident when speaking English, then write the word confident in the comment section to let me know. Okay, lots of love. See you in the next video.